Are you looking for a quick and easy weeknight dinner? I'm going to go ahead and tell you. This one is not pretty, but it absolutely tastes amazing. This is a 5-minute meatloaf that will come together extremely quickly and taste incredible. The first thing you want to do is gather your ingredients and equipment. And so you're going to need a loaf pan, and some people bake these flat on a sheet pan, but that's going to make it dry out because everything can drain away. You also want to have some vinyl gloves just so that you don't have to get this all over your hands. It makes washing your hands a lot easier in the end. You want 2 pounds of ground beef, and we'll talk about what kind is going to make the best later on in the video. About a cup of pretzel crumbs, and that sounds crazy, but it makes this recipe just so much better. You're also going to have 2 eggs, and that's going to add some fat to the recipe and make it taste better. About a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of steak seasoning, and a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce, which apparently is actually pronounced Worcester sauce. So the first thing you want to do is spray your pan with non-stick spray, and this can be olive oil or canola oil or whatever type of spray that you want to have. You just want to give it a good coating because it's got a lot of protein in it, and so it's going to stick really easily. So just give that a good spray. Then you want to crack your eggs into your ground beef, and I'm just breaking up the ground beef a little bit before I get started because this was frozen, and so I'm just making sure that it's all kind of broken up before I crack those eggs in there. We are using ground Wagyu, and the way that I get this is that the store near us, which is Lowe's Foods, generally has this buy 2 get 3 free on sale sometimes, and so whenever it goes on sale like that, I will buy usually 10 of them and just freeze them. And so that's the best way to get these. Whenever you're cracking eggs, crack them on a flat surface so those shells don't go on the inside. You want to add your crushed pretzels in, and you can use breadcrumbs too. I have measurements in the beginning, but honestly, all of these are just kind of guesstimates. You can use kind of the amounts that work for you. But the crushed pretzels are going to add a nice saltiness to this. It adds a lot of flavor, but it also is going to suck up all of the fat from the meat and the moisture and just retain all of that in the meatloaf as opposed to it draining out. The other thing that we're going to add is some steak seasoning, and steak seasoning just has a really peppery flavor and goes really well with beef. And then add in some Worcestershire sauce or Worcester sauce, and I found out from a girl on TikTok that it apparently is pronounced Worcester. I'm not sure why they have all those extra letters in there, but that's what it is. You can be creative with your spices and seasonings, but just be aware if you are using pretzels as your grain product or binder in this, that you don't want to add a lot of extra salt. And then you're just going to use your hands and mix this thoroughly until everything is well combined and everything looks evenly distributed throughout. And you're just going to work it through with your fingers. Some people like to use a spoon, but I have never found a spoon to just work as well as using your hands. You don't want to compress and pack it too much because that is going to make the final meatloaf a little bit too dense and compact, and we don't want that to happen because a compact meatloaf is not going to retain as much of the fat and moisture that we want it to maintain. You also want to be aware of food safety. This is ground beef, and so as you're doing this, kind of watch yourself, and anything that falls out, you're going to want to clean up really well afterwards. After you've got this all mixed up, we're going to place it in the loaf pan, and we are going to bake it at 350 degrees until the center of the meatloaf reaches 155 degrees. And you just want to get it packed in there as evenly as you can. The reason we are cooking to 155 and the reason we cook ground beef to 155 is that's the temperature that kills E. coli. And E. coli is naturally occurring in the intestinal tract of cows, and we try really hard to not have it come into contact with this, but sometimes it's there. So that's the reason we're trying to get it to that temperature. I like to use a Bluetooth thermometer whenever I'm cooking something large like this. It just makes it a little bit easier so that I don't have to stay right on top of things, and it takes the guesswork out of it. So I just turn on the thermometer and put the probe in there, and these probes are designed that you can shut the oven door, and you put it in the centermost part of it so that the probe is not touching the pan, and I'm able to monitor the temperature with my phone, and I don't even have to be in the kitchen, which is really cool. I love this because if you are worn out and you don't necessarily want to be right in there, or you're watching your kids and don't want to be in the kitchen constantly checking things, This is a way to take the guesswork out of things. A lot of times people tend to overcook foods because they're not checking the temperature and they're just so worried that they will get a foodborne illness. So it's just an easy way to make sure that everything is safe. It is okay to pull this out at 150 because of something called carryover cooking. Once it comes out of the oven, it's going to continue to rise a little bit, and that carryover cooking can take it up to 155 after it comes out of the oven. And these are actual screenshots from this particular dish cooking from my cell phone as it was cooking. Now, like I said, it's not the prettiest dish. In general, meatloaf is never going to be pretty, but I had friends over for dinner the night that this got cooked, and we were able to have our conversations and hang out and not have to watch this. Thank you so much for watching Mixing with Mercs. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribing would really, really help me out because I'm trying to build my channel and we are so close to monetizing. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It helps out any creator to subscribe.